Wealth does not begin in the wallet, it begins in the mind. And the cruel irony is, most people never realize it. They chase money like it's a runaway train, sprinting endlessly toward the promise of riches, without ever boarding the only vehicle that truly matters, belief. Not belief in systems, not belief in luck, not belief in the external, belief in self, belief in vision, belief in the invisible laws that govern abundance. Let this truth sink deep into your bones. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. This is not a slogan, it's a spiritual law disguised as a psychological principle, and the people who understand it, they become impossible to ignore. Every great fortune was first built in silence, constructed in the quiet furnace of the mind, long before the world applauded. Carnegie didn't stumble into steel. He visualized an empire of production. Edison didn't just invent light. He held an image in his mind 6,000 times, while the world called him a fool. Walt Disney stood in an empty orange grove in Florida and saw an empire of dreams, while others only saw trees. That's not insanity, that's clarity. That's the first law of the wealthy. You must see what isn't there. You must be willing to believe in the unseen so strongly, so stubbornly, that the universe has no choice but to manifest what you refuse to stop imagining. But let's stop right here, because this is where the average person falls. They hear this and dismiss it as fairy dust. They want steps, shortcuts, blueprints, and they ignore the foundation. You can't out-strategize a poor mindset. You can have all the tactics in the world, but if you think like a beggar, you'll stay a beggar, no matter how much you earn, because money follows energy. It follows intention. It follows belief. It is magnetized by a mind trained in wealth consciousness. So the real question isn't how do I get rich? It's how do I become someone worthy of wealth? And the answer is this. You build the mindset that commands it. That mindset is not built overnight. It is forged through fire, discipline, and self-awareness. It is designed, not inherited. It is earned, not given. The first pillar of this mindset is clarity. Not desire, not hustle, not noise. Clarity. If you cannot define your vision, you cannot attract it. Clarity sharpens action like a blade. It focuses energy. It eliminates distraction. Most people are broke not because they're lazy, but because they're foggy. They wake up reactive, not intentional. They drift, they dabble in dreams and wonder why reality never moves. Clarity is power. The wealthy mind doesn't ask, what should I do today? It declares, I know exactly where I'm going, and every move is a brick in the path. Now, once you have clarity, the next law kicks in. Definite belief. This is not soft. This is not self-help fluff. This is the fuel of every industrial titan, every self-made millionaire, every world changer who rose from nothing. They believed when there was no proof. They acted when there was no applause. They walked when others sat. They built when others mocked. They spoke life into blueprints. They repeated a vision so often it became reality by compulsion. Napoleon Hill called it definiteness of purpose. But purpose means nothing without belief behind it. If you don't believe in what you're building, neither will the world, and belief isn't something you wait for. It's something you command. You speak it until it takes root. You walk in it until it feels like skin. The mind that attracts wealth is allergic to doubt. It recognizes fear, but it refuses to obey it, because fear is a liar that speaks in your own voice. And belief is the antidote that silences it. But belief without discipline is a pipe dream. So the third law is this: relentless execution, action, daily repeated, unfailing action. This is where most fall short. They read the books, they watch the videos, they recite the affirmations, but when the sun rises, they do nothing. Their life becomes a graveyard of great ideas, buried by procrastination and emotional weakness. You are not what you say. You are what you do. The wealthy mindset doesn't worship comfort. It doesn't care about mood. It doesn't wait for motivation. It shows up like it's owed something because it is. It understands that wealth is attracted to the person who respects time. Every hour has weight. Every task is sacred. Every morning is a war won or lost. Discipline is not punishment. It's alignment. It's showing your subconscious who is in control. It's telling your future self, I've got you. You will not be denied. And here's what happens when you move with belief, clarity, and discipline. The world bends. People start listening. Opportunities appear. Coincidences multiply. Doors open, not by magic, but by mental force. Because you are now tuned to the frequency of wealth. And wealth is not just about money. It's about alignment, freedom, power, purpose. It's about building a life that echoes with meaning even in silence. Wealth begins in thought, but it crystallizes through vision. Not just any vision, but one so vivid, so emotionally real. It begins to shape your identity before the results ever show up. Most people want success, but they've never taken the time to see it, to live it in their minds before they ever taste it in their hands. Let me ask you this. Have you sat in the home you haven't bought yet? Have you walked through it in your imagination, felt the doorknob turn, seen the sunlight pour into your dream workspace, heard your own laughter echoing through the hallway? Have you stood inside the life you claim you're building? Because the wealthy do. They don't just chase dreams, they embody them long before the world sees the proof. This is not delusion, this is creation. This is the hidden force that Edison used to light a world that didn't believe in electricity. This is what Oprah did when she sat on the porch of her grandmother's house and refused to accept a life of poverty, even when there was no sign of anything different. Visualization is not just mental practice, it is identity programming. And here's the truth. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe you are. You want to attract wealth, then you must first ask yourself, what kind of person would this level of wealth be attracted to? How do they think? How do they speak? How do they show up? What do they tolerate? What do they demand of themselves? You must become that person now. Not when the money arrives. Not when the business succeeds. Not when you feel ready. Now, because wealth responds to identity, not need. The universe doesn't care that you're desperate. It responds to clarity, to command, to energy that is congruent with the life you claim to be building. This is where most people stay trapped. They try to build a rich life with a poor identity. They speak wealth but carry the posture of self-doubt. They set big goals, but their habits scream, I'm not ready. And the truth is, you cannot fake energy. You cannot attract what you secretly don't believe you deserve. So what's the solution? Environment. Your environment is the mirror that reflects and reinforces your identity, and this goes far beyond the physical. Yes, you must clean your space. Yes, you must upgrade your surroundings. But the deeper environment, the invisible one, that's where the real war is fought. Who are you surrounded by? Are you walking with people who think bigger or people who shrink at the first sign of challenge? Do the conversations around you fuel your vision or slowly poison it with doubt, gossip, mediocrity, and fear? Napoleon Hill said it best. Tell me how you use your time and how you spend your money, and I will tell you where and what you will be in 10 years. But I'll take it one step further. Show me the people you allow into your mind, and I'll show you the ceiling on your life. The wealthy mindset protects itself like royalty. It does not entertain low-vibration conversations. It does not linger in circles that make smallness comfortable. It seeks tension. It demands growth. It lives where pressure sharpens potential, because pressure is not the enemy. It is the refiner. Gold does not become gold without fire. Diamonds do not form without pressure. And your wealth will not come without stretching your identity beyond what feels safe. You must be willing to become someone new, because the person you are today created your current life. And if you want a life you've never had, you must think thoughts you've never thought. Make decisions you've never made and walk paths you've never walked. This is not about pretending to be someone else. This is about peeling back the lies you've believed about yourself until what remains is pure, unshakable power. The kind of power that wakes up early, not for hustle's sake, but because it respects life. the kind of power that doesn't negotiate with excuses, the kind that shows up relentlessly, even when the mood is gone, the applause has faded, and the results haven't arrived yet. That kind of power is magnetic. That kind of identity becomes a beacon, and wealth starts moving toward it like iron to a magnet. But to sustain it, you need one more thing: adaptability. Because wealth isn't a straight line, it's a winding road full of detours, closed doors, and redirected opportunities. And if you cling to rigid expectations, you'll break under the weight of change. The wealthy don't just plan, they pivot. They observe. They adjust. They listen to feedback and move faster than doubt can catch them. Ford was told the automobile was a fad. He didn't argue, he produced. When the Model A failed, he built the Model T. And when that succeeded, he revolutionized the entire system of manufacturing. That's adaptability. That's ego out of the way. That's vision prioritized over pride. And that's exactly what you must embrace. If you want to attract and sustain true wealth, adaptability without resilience is nothing but temporary motivation. Because the truth is, no matter how powerful your vision, no matter how strong your belief, life will test you. It will break you just enough to ask the question, do you still want it? And most people quit at that whisper. But the wealthy mindset, the legacy mindset, it leans into the storm. It doesn't run from resistance. It absorbs it. It grows stronger in chaos. You cannot attract wealth with a fragile spirit. You must be able to stand in a season of drought and still act like rain is coming. That's faith. That's resilience. And that's what separates those who touch success from those who own it. Ask yourself, when failure comes, not if, but when, do you retreat? Do you shrink back and rewrite your goals to match your pain? Or do you rise with fire in your lungs, whispering, this is part of it. This is making me sharper. This is making me unstoppable. Because wealth responds to endurance, not the hype, not the feelings. It responds to the man or woman who refuses to fold, who understands that failure is feedback, not identity. Lincoln lost 8 elections before becoming one of history's most iconic leaders. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Howard Schultz was rejected by banks 2 times before building Starbucks. Imagine stopping at 50. Imagine stopping at 100. Wealth doesn't go to the lucky. It goes to the relentless. But there's something even deeper than resilience, something that governs every action, every thought, every emotion behind the wealthy mind: emotional mastery. Because if your emotions control you, your future is already sold to the lowest bidder. You cannot afford to be at the mercy of mood. You cannot allow temporary feelings to dictate permanent outcomes. The wealthy mind knows how to pause. It knows how to feel without reacting. It knows how to sit with discomfort, learn from it, and move forward without losing control. That's not weakness. That's warrior-level strength. Think about the decisions that destroy people's momentum. They weren't made in clarity. They were made in anger, in fear, in insecurity. Those split-second emotional reactions can cost years of progress. The greatest wealth you can possess is not in a portfolio. It's in the ability to remain unmoved by noise, chaos, or doubt, to keep your frequency high when the world expects you to fall apart. This is why learning is non-negotiable, because wisdom is the compass that keeps you aligned when the winds of emotion try to throw you off course. And the wealthy, they are obsessed with learning, not because they love books, but because they understand something most never do. Every limitation you face is the result of something you haven't yet learned. Every ceiling is self-imposed by ignorance, by what you don't know about your craft, your habits, your mind, or your potential. And that's good news, because ignorance is curable. You can feed your mind, you can outgrow your limitations, but only if you treat learning like breathing. Read, study, ask, watch, listen, apply, repeat. The mindset that attracts wealth is a student first. Ego is the enemy of progress. When you think you already know everything, you've already stopped growing. But humility, that opens doors that arrogance will never reach. And as you grow, as you evolve, as you transform your inner world, something incredible begins to happen. You stop chasing wealth and start building a legacy, because wealth is not the end goal. Wealth is the fuel, the tool, the amplifier. It's what allows you to create freedom, to serve at scale, to multiply impact. The wealthy mind thinks in generations, not just bank balances. It doesn't ask how much can I take, it asks how much can I build, how many lives can I elevate through the strength I've developed. That's the highest level, not just riches, but ripple effects, not just success, but significance. So build your wealth, yes. Master your mind. Yes. Command your day, shape your thoughts, break your patterns. Yes. But never forget why you started. Not for ego, not for validation, but because somewhere deep inside you know you were built for more. You've seen the vision, you felt the call, and you refuse to die with potential unspent. You are not here to survive. You are here to lead, to create, to become, and to leave behind something greater than your name. That is the mindset that attracts wealth. Not scarcity, not fear, not luck, but unshakable belief, directed by vision, powered by discipline, protected by resilience, sharpened by learning, and driven by legacy. So stop asking, how can I get rich? Start asking, who must I become to be worthy of the life I envision? Because when you become that person, wealth can no longer ignore you.